at 272-3284.
If you're living with heart disease and surgery is necessary, a top-rated heart surgery program is available to you at Baptist Health. The team at Baptist has the highest rating for heart bypass surgery by the Society of Thoracic Surgeons, the gold standard for quality and safety ratings. Ask your doctor to learn more or visit baptistjax.com/heart.
When you're a little kid on the playground, they tell you don't hit back. Well, the courtroom isn't a playground. And if you've suffered an injury or death in your family, I'm here to tell you it's okay to hit back and fight to make them pay. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we understand all the pain and emotion that comes with being wrong. And we've dedicated our lives to making things right for people like you. So if you get hit back with Hastings Injury Law. Offices, Jacksonville.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson. During his SEC media appearance, University of Florida head coach Billy Napier is feeling positive about his progress going from year one to year two.
I'm pleased with the year one to year two transition relative to the recruiting calendar, NIL, and certainly the portal.
SEC Media Days had Alabama head coach Nick Saban addressing the always high expectations for the Crimson Tide football team.
We need to stay process-oriented, not focused on the outcome, but focused on the things that we need to do to get the outcome that we want.
The British Open kicks off this morning from Royal Liverpool in Hoylake, England. The British Open is offering a record $16.5 million purse this week, with $3 million going to the winner on Sunday afternoon. That's your 1010XL local sports updates. I'm Sam Nelson for 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
At 10:05, it's 87 degrees. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Last year's last year, and you just have to keep reiterating the point. Like, I've said this in here before. It's, it's a new team. It's a new season. We got to start over, and that's got to be the mentality. It's great what we did, but we haven't done anything in 23. We haven't played a football game yet.
It just really feels like, for the first time in my 20 years, that not only the needle pointed up, but like way up, straight up. Like this thing jumping about, like they were about to jump on a rocket bound for the moon. And I just feel like that's where this team is headed.
So I think Trevor's going to win the MVP. I think Trevor's going to have an unbelievable season for a team that's going to win a lot of games against bad football teams.
Shotgun for Trevor. He drops. He looks. Fires left side of us. Caught! Caught! Zay Jones catches it! The two-point conversion is good! Jacksonville is taking the lead! How good is that?
I would say Tank Bigsby. I think he'll be the rookie that the nation kind of wakes up on.
Bigsby runs the opposite way and finds a crease. Inside the 30 with a cutback. Breaks a tackle. Inside the 10. Goal line! Touchdown!
We've done all the work. The city's growing. The Jaguars are ascending. We have, new leadership in the Bears office. Now is Jacksonville's time.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your host Mike Dempsey,
John Shipley,
and Dylan Denmark.
It would have been disappointing if Ship had anything other than a hacker introduction after Demetrius Harvey got one yesterday on the program. Dylan Denmark, you even just pulling random clips from Hacker After Dark, Dylan, this week?
Yeah, it was, he's got all these guys pretty recently, so I just got to go within the last week or so and copy and paste his name and then just throw it in the open.
It's generally what we have to do around here. Wait until, Hacker gets all the good guests first, and then, we just kind of coast along in his wake and try to pick up a few scraps. John Shipley, you're certainly not scraps. Good to have you on board from Jaguar Report, which is an offshoot of Sports Illustrated. Ship as one of the best on the Jaguar beat. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you. High bar, Demetrius Harvey, always good. We had him in yesterday, and enjoy having you guys on. As I told him, I feel like you guys are like my equals. You don't officially work for 1010XL. I like to try to get you on as much as possible. Sometimes it works out different ways with different guys. We like to work around your schedule. But speaking of working around schedules, I know a lot of people who follow you on social media are aware of this. You're engaged fairly recently, and And you've made the wise decision to put this off until late February, the actual nuptials, right?
Yes, sir. No, after the parade. After the parade.
After the parade. Well put, right?
Exactly.
Nothing's going to – I actually have a friend who got married, I want to say maybe it was 2 football seasons ago, something, and it was like very early September, but it was like on a weekday. It was fine.
Yeah.
And they are both busy. They both have jobs, and they wanted to save up enough money, and they deferred their honeymoon, and they started today in Hawaii.
That's awesome.
So I don't know if you could – that's an easy sell to your bride-to-be. Hey, honey, we'll wait a couple of years, and we'll go somewhere nice.
She actually mentioned making the combine a part of our –
Oh!
But I'm not trying to –
Fist bump. Chip chose wisely. Nice job.
Yeah, not trying to get those too tied
You know
together.
what? I don't know. I appreciate the sentiment, but anything but that. All right, so, hey, look, we'll talk a bunch of Jags today. Obviously, that's the reason we're having you in, kind of preview training camp, look at the offseason as a whole. I guess the newest piece of news, if you want to call it that, Ian Rappaport putting out there yesterday that DeJuan Smoot is scheduling a visit with the Baltimore Ravens next week. And Mia O'Brien had followed up with a tweet and said that she had mentioned on XL Primetime early in this week that the team and Smoot have mutual interest, but that they seem to have maybe reached a bit of a stalemate, on what the value is. That there's a lot of that going around in the National Football League. Where do you think the Jags are in terms of their interest level in still retaining DeJuan Smoot right now?
I mean, I still believe it's pretty mutual. I think it's been mutual for most of really the summer. I think it's always been something where both sides want them to happen. I mean, you go back to even during the very early stages of OTAs in the offseason program, and you even back then would hear, rumblings of, a reunion kind of wanting to happen between both sides. To me, honestly, I think the visit with Baltimore might actually be a good thing, for the Jaguars. Maybe it can help
spark it a little.
Yeah, maybe, and maybe it can even help Smoot kind of see, what the market really is, because it really seems like, that's the big thing is it's a player who, he's been extremely productive. He's been one of the franchise's more productive pass rushers the last couple of years, but he is coming off of an injury, so there's a disconnect, I believe, between okay, I've been productive, but I'm also coming off an injury, so how do you really fairly compensate that?
Well, and the Ravens have been smart and economical with this. The guy that a lot of us have focused on this offseason, Justin Houston, played for them for about $4 million, I think, last year and had 9.5 sacks. Interestingly enough, when Rappaport tweeted that out yesterday, I went and read some of the comments, and a lot of Ravens fans were in there going, but what about Justin Houston? Like, why aren't we just not bringing this guy back? And they're saying, hey, let's bring them both in. And there are a lot of guys available right now, like in that veteran category if you want to go down that road. But do you think that it may be a case like once the first domino or two starts to fall that teams are going to have to get in line pretty quickly if they want to jump in on that?
I think so, especially as you get closer to the start of camp. No coach wants somebody who's going to be a contributor to their team to miss time during camp. I mean, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but we saw last year Devin Lloyd how much missing training camp really impacted his play. It's different for a veteran, obviously, but they want all their pieces there for duration camp. So I do think as you get closer to camp, the first domino that begins to fall, that's when all the other pieces will come into play. You just, for the Jaguars, you have to wonder which one really makes sense, because it really seems like they have, a really specific role for anybody who they would add. They're not going to take Trayvon Walker off the field. They're not going to take Josh Allen off the field.
Right.
So anybody who comes in has to be okay with being that third guy. And, I wonder if Ngakoue is somebody who's okay with that. I wonder if Jadeveon Clowney, is somebody who's okay with that. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to both of them, but, that's kind of the question you have to ask.
I think Clowney has made some overtures that he might be a little bit more amenable to that. I think Jan sees himself as a starter, and, that's fine.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to value yourself however you see fit. I think the NFL continues to tell him there's less and less interest in that because he doesn't play the run very well, and still free, and he's out there wondering, why don't I have a team? I think that's part of it, and expectations. I think that's why Houston makes a lot of sense, because
100%.
He's got to be conditioned at this point. Coming off the bench last year, he knows at this stage of his career, he probably doesn't want to play every down. You know what I mean? Just come in, let me collect my money, let me do what I do best, which is get quarterbacks on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Just alone the sheer fact of what he would do for guys like Trayvon Walker and even Josh Allen. But, I mean, there's also a connection to the Jaguar staff. I mean, Bob Sutton, the assistant linebackers coach, was his defensive coordinator for a few years in Kansas City. Doug Peterson was there with him in Kansas City. I've been really surprised that there hasn't been, more interest on that front, because I think, like you said, he really checks, to me, all the boxes for a guy who makes sense for them.
And for all we know, maybe Justin Houston said, all right, I played for this last year, but then I went out and put up almost 10 sacks. So maybe his financial expectations have changed. And maybe, but again, the Jags, thanks to your reporting, I'm aware that they're just slightly under $22 million under the salary cap. So they've got the flexibility. We'll talk about that, what they may do with that. And, we'll tread some of the same ground we did with Demetrius Harvey yesterday, but get it from the perspective of John Shipley, but some new, fresh stuff this morning as well. And today's Chad and Sandy Real Estate question of the day asks you, well, kind of a two-parter. The first one is just, what are your questions for Ship, right? I went low-hanging fruit for the second day in a row. I'm trying to ease my way into training camp here, Ship, and hold back a few good questions. Tommy Mack will be in with us tomorrow, and we will not repeat it 3 days in a row. But I know a lot of people ask you a lot of stuff specifically on Twitter, at least where I see that. And so want to give you that chance to ask some direct questions to John today. You can do that on the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, both at 641-1010. Hit us up on Twitter today, at MD_1010XL, at _John_Shipley, or at 1010XL Denmark. They don't all roll off the tongue quite yet, but we got them correctly out there. Also, maybe the most important thing, I tweeted out that this whole studio, the whole new look that's going on, Dylan, got new carpeting, but I feel like this came out of the, quote, distressed bin. Like you get a T-shirt now, and for a while it's been the thing to have them look like they're pre-aged when you already buy them. I'm curious what people think about the new carpet that we've got here, which is smart that we've got one, because these chairs will rip through the wall-to-wall carpeting in the studio in no time flat. And we've got some kind of strobe light effect that's available to me. Ship, they left this remote control in my hand. Probably not the wisest idea for them, whoever they are, but I may be playing with the lighting in here today a little bit. And I was today years old as well when I realized that the reverse image I see in the monitor is not what people are seeing on YouTube. So that's nice. You actually see the 1010XL logo in all its glory. All right, so excuse me. Today, you got it. John Shipley here with us. Dylan Denmark, Mike Dempsey. Bring us your Jaguars questions. We'll preview training camp on the field for the Jaguars in 6 scant days from now. That first practice will just about be coming down the home stretch. So we'll get all the thoughts and opinions on John Shipley and what the Jags did right, what they did wrong, or what they still need to get done this offseason. All that coming up. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. You don't have to have a golf ball crash into your house to maybe consider an upgrade, right? If you're looking around your house and you're like, man, I don't know if the resale value, for instance, is where it needs to be. Pella can increase the value of your home. Their Consumer Reports overall top choice for both energy efficiency and stylish design, and they're just going to look great, feel great. You're going to feel great about the space you're living in if you go with Pella. I do. Trust them in my house. I couldn't recommend them more highly. They've done a highly professional job, and my house looks fantastic since I've had Pella come in and take over. Visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. They're right next to Tesla, and you can always find them online at PellaJacks.com.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. Start your day the 1010XL way.
A little more down to earth.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
You boys could use a little churching up.
The Drill.
So beggars can't be choosers.
Mornings.
That's a good joke. That's humorous.
On 1010XL.
O'Reilly. Does your vehicle have over 75,000 miles? Get maximum high-mileage engine protection with Syntec Full Synthetic High-Mileage Motor Oil exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec High Mileage and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $34.99. Limit supply. Ask for Syntec High Mileage at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is Ellen Darley, and for almost 30 years, Darley's Plumbing has been known as a winning company for local homeowners, business owners, and our employees. And Darley's is an equal opportunity employer, now hiring for experienced plumbers and helpers. We provide excellent pay rates, great hours, affordable health insurance, and we've got plenty of work for you. So call us today, because we're hiring plumbers and helpers now at Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts.
Summer is here, so while you're at the beach or on your bike, head on down to Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach, where you'll find the absolute freshest seafood in all of the 904, the biggest shrimp, the saltiest oysters, the freshest fish, all here at our newly renovated restaurant in Neptune Beach. Fresh seafood delivered daily by Safe Harbor, straight from the boat to your plate. Unique oyster specials daily, along with mixed cocktails from the bar. Come enjoy this beach vibe. Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach, locally owned by Safe Harbor Seafood.
We've been telling you for almost a year about Nathan's Family Chiropractic and the 100-Year Lifestyle Network. If chronic back or joint pain is keeping you down, don't listen to me. Listen to what Jacksonville is saying about Dr. Alan Nathans.
The stem cell treatment took the pain away.
Changed my life. It's awesome.
Your body just works better when it's aligned. We're believers.
His no-needle regenerative protocols are giving people their lives back. Get yours back, too. Go to the pro in the know. Don't do another cortisone injection. He's one of us, helping all of us for the past 25 years. For more info, drnathans.com.
1010XL takes you to the ACC kickoff in Charlotte so you can get to know your favorite coaches and players.
We cannot be defeated.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 and Performance Painting.
Superior Fence and Rail knows about exceptional customer service. From the first call to the final inspection, Superior's team provides first-class care with great communication, friendly installers, and quality fence products. There's a reason why Superior is the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your new fence today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
I-9 Sports, offering youth sports leagues all over the First Coast. And if you want to find out how you can get your son or daughter in flag football, soccer, basketball, or t-ball, the focus is simply on them. Log on to i9sports.com and get your kid in the game.
Hacker here for the Sausage Dudes Sausage. You know I'm a sausage guy, and the Sausage Dudes, Paul and Patrick, make the best sausage I've ever tasted. Their high-quality pork and spices separate the Sausage Dudes from the pack. Try their 4 flavors, including Italian, Polish, Hungarian, and beer bratwurst today by picking them up at any Publix in the Jacksonville area. A portion of their proceeds also get donated to the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. Try the Sausage Dudes Sausage today, the sausage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Your Jaguars are back at Everbank Stadium, and we can't wait to see you there. Wow. Deciding on your favorite matchup has never been easier with a bundle at the bank. Purchase tickets to 3 or more games, starting at just $58 per game. As a bundle purchaser, you receive exclusive access to Jaguars and Daly's Place pre-sales, discounts on single game tickets, and so much more. But seats are selling fast, so lock them in now. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
Get ready to swing into the hottest party this summer. Join First Tee North Florida at the Yards on July 27th for the Summer Soiree, presented by Southeastern Turf Grass Supply. Tee off for open play golf on the backyard, followed by an all-inclusive party supporting the impactful programs of First Tee. The Summer Soiree provides the perfect blend of golf, party, and philanthropy, all in one special evening. Visit firstteenorthflorida.org/summer soiree and secure your tickets today.
Ackerman Urology offers the most advanced options for improving men's health and vitality. Their board-certified urologists treat all prostate disease and sexual health issues. Call their new location on Atlantic and Hodges or visit AckermanUrology.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Yes, just for Duval Doom, I got the strobe lights going. He has teal Christmas. We've got regular Christmas in here, Ship. I mean, this is quite impressive.
It's festive.
It's a little disco atmosphere. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, man. 1010XL is trying to put us in a mood around these parts. The Jaguars are enough to put us in a mood. right now, in a good mood for the first time collectively in a while. I was just telling you, I got a notice from Amazon. I'm not signed in on my work computer, but I got an email that said my package will be delivered today. On the one hand, I ordered a new iPad because this one here, when I start browsing on it, 10 minutes, my battery will be down to 10%.
Wow.
Like it's time.
Yeah.
It's a shot. So I have to, if I'm going to use this iPad, it has to be connected to power almost constantly. The other package is 2 packs of honey licorice cough drops for my wife. So, I place slightly different importance on which of those I get in a timely fashion. So,
honey licorice, nobody's going to steal those.
I wouldn't think so, right? I'm not worried about the stealing of it. I'm just worried about the
handling.
The handling, yes. Let's get them in there. I got to get this new iPad up and loaded and ready to go. So, are you a big delivery guy? Do you get a lot of things delivered to the house?
Yeah. Amazon and like Affirm are 2 of the worst things that ever happened to me.
I'm not too bad about it, but I every once in a while I'll go, I probably do need another 5 dozen golf balls, and they will deliver them to my front porch. So there's that. I appreciate that. All right, let's talk about this AFC South division a little bit. We've got, I'll kind of just coalesce some of the questions we're getting in. Basically, put the Jags aside. What do you make of the competition this year? Of course, most recently, DeAndre Hopkins going to the Tennessee Titans. But to you, is that clearly the team the Jags need to worry about in the AFC South? And if so, how much?
I think it's definitely a 2-team division, and I think it's the Titans have to be the other team that the Jaguars are really, concerned about. Because, I mean, you look at some of the holes on the Titans roster, and they're legitimate, things to criticize. The offensive line, that strange move to add Andre Dillard after he couldn't really cut it in Philadelphia. But at the end of the day, Mike Vrabel, for whatever reason, he's just able to get the most out of every team. And that same Titans team last year that was having to start Malik Willis and, didn't have any pass catching options, still, was took the Jaguars, to the brink at the end.
Absolutely.
At the end of the season. So, no matter what issues they have, as long as Mike Vrabel's there, I think that they're going to be a tough out. And I think adding DeAndre Hopkins, it's not the same as adding DeAndre Hopkins 3 or 4 years ago. That would have been different. But I do think it legitimizes their offense a bit more.
His yards per catch was not eye-popping last year. But, again, volume-wise, he played with a variety of quarterbacks when Kyler Murray got hurt. And in 9 games was on pace for over 1,300 yards last year. I mean, he's not a 1,500-yard guy like he used to be, but he clearly comes in as the best pass catcher they have on the team
no
right
doubt.
now. So
no doubt.
there is that. And the Andre Dillard thing, I think teams, they take those chances on highly drafted guys. They go back and what was our evaluation of them coming out, and you know how it is, man. We can fix this guy. They couldn't fix him, but we'll get the best out of him. And sometimes it works that way. I mean, you even go like when the Jags brought in Cedric Ogbuehi, right, a few years ago. He was a highly drafted guy, didn't work out, but you're like, all right, there is some raw material in there. What can you get out of him? And I think that just shows you just how bad Tennessee's offensive line was last year, right, that they feel the need to take these kind of chances.
Oh, no question. If there's any Achilles heel for them, that would be it. That's even after drafting, maybe the draft's best offensive lineman in Peter Skoronski, they still have those questions. So if I think there's anything that's going to really hold them back, it's that offensive line. But I still think Ryan Tannehill obviously isn't as good of a quarterback as he was maybe even just a few years ago, but he can still get the job done. I still think he's above average by NFL standards.
And granted, the Jags beat him with Tannehill the first time,
absolutely.
But Tannehill, collectively, he had them in a good position in the division up until when he went down. And I'm not, again, I want to be clear. Not afraid of the Titans. I think the Jags are the cream of the crop. They should be considered the favorites going into this season.
Absolutely.
But the margin was extremely close last year. But I think that's the thing. We don't expect, everything changes, right? We don't expect the Jags to be stagnant, even though they didn't have a lot of roster overhaul outside of the NFL draft. The improvement for this team comes internally, right? I saw over at SI today, they're talking about basically like breakout players.
Yeah.
And you guys had Andre Sisco as the breakout candidate for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think there are a lot of good candidates in that regard. They also put Devin Lloyd as another option, but they expect him to do well. Maybe not a full-on breakout, but there is a lot of room for internal improvement 100%. On this team, and that the side where it is really needed defensively, you got a lot of young talent.
100%, and that's the thing. You know, like you said, the Jaguars maybe didn't make a lot of roster moves, but a lot of their players are second, third-year players, or obviously their second years in the systems. You know, we've heard Doug Peterson say before that he considers, even if you're like a seventh-year veteran, if it's your second year with them, they consider you a second-year player just in terms of their comfort and everything. But also, I still think the biggest difference for the Jaguars this year compared to last year will be Trevor Lawrence. And even with as good as he was and as productive as he was last year, I expect him to be significantly better this year. Just the natural progression of a quarterback entering his third year, his second year in Peterson's system. And like you said, the Jaguars, I think, are still, the clear favorites. I don't think any, DeAndre Hopkins signing or anything else the Titans can really do at this point would change that. But if you're going to talk about a team that is at least in line to compete with them, I do think it's the Titans. But for all the reasons you said, all the young talent that's developing, Trevor Lawrence, I do think the Jaguars, it seems like for the first time in a while, they're, the team that's set to be hunted.
Andrew on Twitter asked it this way: what worries you about some of the moves that our division opponents have made? Looks like some smart coaching hires and solid talent increase. I guess I'll say it this way: like you can look at Tennessee. They do bring in Hopkins. That was one of the major pieces. Obviously, the Colts and the Texans, new coaches, new quarterbacks. Like, is there a move that one of those three teams did that you say 3 years down the road, this is going to be the most impactful decision made by one of those teams this offseason?
Yeah, I think the Houston Texans hiring of DeMeco Ryans. I really do, because the big thing the Texans have been missing the last couple of years is just stability. They have felt like a zombie franchise, kind of like the Jaguars felt in 2019, 2020. It just felt like a franchise without direction, without any consistency, without really any ambition. And I think DeMeco Ryans can change that. Obviously, it's a bit of projection. He hasn't been a head coach before. He's just been a defensive coordinator. Obviously, his defenses in San Francisco are a good bit talented than the defense that he's going to be coaching right now. But I've been a fan of him for a while. All the things I've read of him, people have worked with him, people have played for him, with him. I think he's going to be a big success as a head coach. And to me, Houston, as badly as they needed a franchise quarterback, I felt like they needed a franchise leader even more, especially after 2 years of one-and-done coaches. I mean, those are just 2 years completely wasted. 2 years of players' primes. I mean, they have one of the best left tackles in football, and 2 of the best years of his career were just completely wasted because they had no direction. So I think adding that direction can kind of be the game changer for them.
Yeah, well, it's obvious you got to have the combo, right? Because you look at the Jags draft a franchise quarterback, and the coaching is abysmal, and you saw how Trevor Lawrence's rookie season played out, and then you saw, once he was able to break free of those shackles, what he was capable of doing, particularly in the second half last year. I had Jordan Dejani on from CBS Sports on Monday, and I asked him this, and I'll ask you as well, in terms of the 2 new projected starting quarterbacks. Put Will Levis aside. He was a later pick. Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, who would you rather own stock in over the course of their career?
I'll go with Stroud, just because I think he's easier to project as a passer. I think Richardson, he can be dangerous if you scheme him right early on, just because of, he's arguably the most athletic quarterback ever.
Right.
I'm just worried that you're going to see a bit of the kind of Justin Fields situation with him, where, after year 2, it seems like the best things that you're talking about are what he offers on the ground, and that, the development as a passer hasn't really came. Whereas Stroud, he was, to me, as ready as any quarterback in the draft to kind of step in and play quarterback. My comparison for him coming out of the draft was a better Jared Goff, so I'm not sure if that's a ceiling that really excites people.
Right, is that a compliment or a kind of a meh or what? And you look at Goff, been to a Super Bowl, really,
Exactly.
He's got the weapons around him in Detroit, had a fantastic year last year as well. So that's not necessarily a backhanded compliment.
Exactly. So between the two of them, I'd say Stroud.
Yeah, I do worry that opener, man.
Yeah.
I've talked about Anthony Richardson. You have no idea how they're going to employ him, right? Or what maybe he just starts and they just roll with him, right? And that's fine. Or maybe they start Minshew and then they have packages for Anthony Richardson. And all the while, shouldn't be hard to get up for the opener. It's the division opponent, but You got Kansas City coming to your house next week. You know what I mean? And I just harken back to 2018 when the Jags opened and struggled with the Giants and kind of we're looking ahead to that New England matchup, and I hope that doesn't turn out to be trouble in Indianapolis. But that's a ways off. We don't have to worry about it. John on Twitter said, in regard to our new carpeting here, ribbon cuttings and facility upgrades left and right. Well, John Shipley was out there at the new Miller Electric Center. He'll give you his bird's eye view, an impression of what he saw out there. And keep the questions coming. We got a bunch of them here for John Shipley on the Jaguar beat. So we'll continue in that theme with Ship. With Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Keep it right here, Jaguars Today. Christmas in July in the studio today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
If you bleed teal and black, then welcome home. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. This Open Championship update on 1010XL is brought to you by Mr. Sparky of the First Coast and MyBookie.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 151st British Open. Most of the afternoon wave on the course at Royal Liverpool. Tommy Fleetwood and amateur Christo Lamprecht the leaders after posting 5 under 66. They're 2 shots clear of the field. Colin Morikawa just about to tee off. The 2021 Open champion had been the poster boy of underachievement for most of this season before his run in Detroit earlier this month when he lost to Ricky Fowler in a playoff.
Being in contention 2 weeks ago was the best feeling. I mean, walking down those last 9 holes was like, it felt like it was just back to normal. The playoff didn't go the way I wanted, but it just felt comfortable. So, yes, absolutely, I do want to be back on top. I know it's going to come. I don't know when, hopefully this week.
Morikawa, a 2-time major champ, grouped with Max Homa and Tyrrell Hatton. U.S. Open champion Wyndham Clark birdies the last for a 3 under 68. He's 2 back along with Stuart Sink. I'm Ted Emmerich, Westwood One Sports.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Every day, PGA coaches across the country are helping golfers reach their goals.
First time picking up a club? Let's get started.
16 holes still giving you nightmares? Let's conquer it.
Want to bring a friend along? Let's learn together.
Let's focus on health.
On fun.
On nothing at all.
Let's talk goals.
Let's try something new.
Let's keep it going.
Let's have some fun. Improve, connect, or escape. Wherever your golf journey is headed, let's get you there. Find your PGA coach at pga.com/coach.
Did you know the new 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid has an onboard system that charges the battery so you never have to plug it in? When you think Honda, you think quality, value, safety. Now think hybrid. Visit your local Honda dealer and experience the car of tomorrow today.
No dental insurance? No problem. Introducing the Care Plus program from the dental offices of Dr. James McCall. For only $625 per year, you will receive 2 cleanings and dental exams, a full set of x-rays, plus 1 emergency dental exam and x-ray. You'll also receive a 20% discount on all other services offered. Kids 12 and under will receive the same program for only $525. Call Dr. McCall today at 620-9225.
Attention corporate event planners and team leaders. Step away from the ordinary and treat your team or clients to an exceptional corporate event at Foursquare Golf Tavern. With great fellowship, elevated food, handcrafted cocktails, and the excitement of golf simulators and football on the big screen, it's an experience you won't find anywhere else. Call or visit our website to learn more about hosting your next corporate event with us. Let's make it a day of team building, celebration, and unforgettable memories at Foursquare Golf Tavern.
School is out, and the kids are at home. This means more stress on your septic system. Call Duck Duck Rooter and get your septic tank pumped out. 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769.
He thinks he knows what he's talking about.
Of course.
Find out if he does.
Is there anything else we need to know?
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Franchi Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. They were fantastic in setting up my car loan. I've never had a bad experience, and I've banked with them for years. I trust First Florida Credit Union. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the New Durban location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Fed up with settling for mediocre pet food? Go to Paul Licken Good, your one-stop shop for affordable, high-quality raw pet food. Their Prey Model blend mimics the way your dog's ancestors consume their meals. It strengthens the immune system and bone health and gives a shinier coat. Made from all-natural USDA-inspected human-grade meats. No fillers, no artificial additives. Check out all the 5-star Google reviews off Lane Avenue near Lenox. Call 625-8600. That's 625-8600. Or visit paullickengoodraw.com.
Major League Baseball is always on at Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill. Whether you're a Ray, Cub, or even Yankee, Perfect Rag Billiards always has all the games live. Tons of awesome beer and food specials for the weekend. From Fireball Fridays, Seltzer Saturdays, and brunch on Sundays. That along with tons of pool tables, shuffleboards, darts, and more. Get on out of the house for the action and come to Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill, where you can catch all the MLB action. Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill, a great place to watch sports.
Run to the Jacksonville Sharks for their fight against West Texas this Saturday, July 22nd, 7 o'clock, 5-Star Arena. With tickets as low as $15, you can't find this kind of affordable fun just anywhere. It's Military Appreciation Night. Stay postgame for the auction and win a Military Sharks jersey. All veterans and their families. Buy one ticket, get one free. Shark Tank this Saturday, July 22nd, 7 o'clock at the 5-Star Veterans Memorial Arena. Call 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com. And veterans, BOGO tickets. Fins up.
Hi, I'm Megan, your member services specialist with the Northeast Florida Safety Council. We've been keeping Florida businesses safe for over 80 years. We offer a variety of online and in-person safety classes. Our learning management system keeps track of all of your certifications and notifies you before they expire. Enjoy all the benefits and take the hassle out of safety compliance by becoming a member today. Visit nefsc.org. That's nefsc.org.
Get ready for the power of Godsmack live on their new world tour with special guests Atreyu and Flat Black featuring Jason Hook, formerly of Five Finger Death Punch, coming to Daly's Place September 6th. Featuring songs from their new album, Lighting Up the Sky. Until Friday, July 21st, 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Godsmack Live.
Come to Bowden Eye for all your eye care needs. Hicken here. Did you know that dry eye disease affects up to 60 million Americans? Dry eye disease is known to progress. Dry eye disease is one of the most common but least diagnosed eye conditions doctors see in their patients. Many of us who have dry eye may not even feel it. At Bowden Eye and Associates, visit today for your personal consultation. Keeping the First Coast focused. Bowden Eye and Associates. New location now open off County Road 210 in St. Johns County.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Christmas in July in the studio today.
It's that time of year again.
Jaguars Today
Too late, man. You ready
on
for
1010XL.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I should be giving things away now. We should have planned this better. I had no idea we'd have the strobe lighting, the festive holiday mood. Although I find out, I thought that, oh, you've got them back on. Thank you. I see what you're doing in there, Denmark. You know, I feel like, you ever see the movie Gaslight? Where the expression comes from, and the guy, you know, when people tell you something that your eyes tell you differently, and they try to convince you something, it's called you're gaslighting somebody. It comes from a movie called Gaslight, where this guy, I think it was his wife, he was dimming the lights on the street a little bit every day and telling her, no, you're nuts. What are you talking about? You know, and so he was gaslighting her. But I feel like somehow this is applicable to what's going on with these lights. Like I thought for a second that maybe they were on a timer, that when I hit the strobe and they just clicked off, because honestly, got a little distracting there. I mean, Shipley's a handsome guy, but I don't need to see him in 8 different colors.
Did you get dizzy during the middle of the segment?
I didn't get dizzy. I just got a little disoriented, I suppose. But, Dylan, you got one complaint about no more disco lights. We had much more. I got those lights are a vibe. Tune in for the first time on YouTube. Disco lights are nice. See, I don't know, Dylan. We might have to go with the majority. But
we might need to do that for a poll question tomorrow.
Maybe.
Lights or no lights?
Lights, no lights. There's kind of like a teal option on there, though.
There is.
Yes. What are we going with? Is this kind of close to teal? This is more bluish.
I clicked teal. Let's see what I can do here.
I'm
I'll
team
work
lights
on
for
it.
a record.
Yeah, you are.
I'm team lights.
I mean, you've got a teal shirt on, so any light that hits you, you're representing. All right. I just need to stop obsessing over the studio lights right now. But we get a new toy, and it's just hard. It takes my attention. All right, Ship. Let's this one from Rich on Twitter. Morning, gentlemen. What is John's perspective on Trevor Lawrence's upcoming contract? Okay. Now, obviously, next year you can jump right in and give him an extension, as Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are eligible for this year but have yet to receive them. But there's been a lot of talk about negotiations ongoing. Will the Jags do that? Will they let it play out to a potential 5th-year option? Will they extend him before that? Or will this year's performance really – I mean, I can't imagine they're going to sour on Trevor Lawrence no matter what he does this year. Do you think it is an absolute imperative that they get it done next offseason? Because he is under contract for this year, next year. You've got the 5th-year option. There is a little bit of time if you wanted to play it out, but at the same time, there's a benefit to getting in early before the market takes another big jump.
Yeah, it's obviously the sooner the better. It's just they're in such a weird spot in the pecking order for when to pay quarterbacks, because Trevor has obviously all the guys that have come before him. Hurts and Lamar just got paid. Burrow and Herbert are set to get paid before him. And then he doesn't really have any, competition from his class or the guys after him. So after him, you're really wondering who's the next quarterback to get paid. So it almost makes you feel like they can, kind of slow play it a little bit. That's not to say, it'll ever be a question of, is this, are they going to pay him? It's more a matter of a win to me. So I do think they could have an advantage in that aspect because, I mean, once Burrow and Herbert get paid, it's really Trevor and, I don't even know who else would possibly.
Well, I mean, really anybody from his class would be just pure speculation that maybe Justin Fields has a breakout season this year, but it doesn't look like Mac Jones is on the, horizon from getting one.
Trey Lance and Zach Wilson are done with.
I mean, they will be lucky to get second contracts at this point, never mind big extensions. But, obviously the Jags and Evan Ingram agreed to terms and got him signed before the franchise tag deadline. And we talked about this on Monday, how I do think that plays well in the locker room, right? Like, here's Evan Ingram, signed a 1-year prove-it deal, and he proved it. And he came in and had a good year, and he did get rewarded. And while it's not a 5-year deal, he seems ecstatic to be here. He got some guaranteed money. So when the locker room looks at him and looks at the organization, they say, okay, if I play well, they're going to take care of me. Is there a need to make sure, like, everyone knows who the most important guy on this football team is? It's Trevor Lawrence, and it's Trevor Lawrence by a mile. If they were to not extend him as quickly as they could, does that cause any raised eyebrows in the locker room?
I definitely think that, like you said, the optics of contracts are definitely a factor in locker rooms. Anybody who doesn't think they are is just not the reality. Like there have been cases, I've been covering the Jags since 2019. There have been cases where they've paid guys, and there are other guys in the locker room I've had conversations with who are, visibly, frustrated. Like this is, the people that we're paying, maybe in free agency instead of our own people. So I do think when you pay the right people, it does send a message. And Evan Ingram's a great example of that. No people inside the locker room wondered a lot about Ngakoue not getting paid a couple years ago, because to them, he was a guy who, he did everything right, didn't get in trouble, was always a hard worker. And Evan Ingram's the same way. Like if you're going to send a message to the locker room that if you are, the right kind of part of this culture, you will get rewarded for it. And Ingram's the guy to pay. And I think Trevor is, kind of cut from that same cloth. But I also think Trevor is cognizant enough to know that he wants his guys to really be secure too. That obviously plays with Calvin Ridley,
Sure.
entering a contract year. So I think in that respect, I don't think, maybe waiting a little bit for Trevor would cause an issue, because I do think if they did wait for Trevor, it would just be a vehicle to, keep guys like Ridley, etc.
Right. On the one hand, you can look at it and say, hey, oh, sure, the cap's going to rise, and we can give Trevor a front-loaded deal or whatever the case may be and make him happy. And I think that probably, honestly, that's in the sum total of things, the better way to go, in my opinion. But you can at least make the argument and have the conversation that why wouldn't you just push a bunch of other pieces onto this team? You don't have to advance Trevor Lawrence's contract. You let him play out his fourth year. You pick up the fifth-year option with the full intention of giving him an extension before he ever plays on the fifth-year option. That is one way you could go. But, man, they're talking about the cap going up so much that I don't even know if that's going to matter that much.
Yeah.
You feel like you're going to be able to accomplish just about anything you want to contractually if the players are willing to jump on board.
100%. I mean, we even saw it. Everybody talked entering this offseason about, how little the Jaguars had in terms of cap space and, how much maneuvering they had to do. Now we're before training camp. They have almost, $20 million. Like it can't.
They're at
it
their
can't be
peak
done.
of power right now, and there's nothing out there but a bunch of veteran pass rushers. So we could have three of them if we wanted, Chip. We could have the best pass rush rotation off the bench of any team in the league. All right, let's do this. Let's get a call in here. A lot of people asking. I got no cough button. Can we get a cough or a sneeze? Second time this week I've had to sneeze. I just couldn't hold it in, man. I don't know what to tell you. Little inside the business story. I've told this before. At the old station we used to work at in town, there used to be a cough button in red right there next to your microphone, right? So all you had to do was hit it. You clear your throat, whatever. We weren't on video. Nobody knew what you were doing. David Lamb, in all the time I knew him, worked there, would go like this. He'd turn his head and clear his throat like 2 inches from the mic. But by clearing his head a little bit, I'm like, Dave, there's a button in red. It's just a red button. It's right in front of you, right next to your hand. Just press it.
And turning your head don't do nothing.
It'll be fine. You're turning your head does absolutely nothing. So I try to turn my head on the sneeze, more out of deference to not getting a sneeze all over the computer screens in here. So you're welcome, XL Primetime. All right, let's get Steve up. A lot of people are asking questions about the secondary and nickel corner, but Steve in Melbourne has something he wants to ask about Tyson Campbell. Steve, you're on Jaguars Today. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, Mike, bless you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. See, there's a good man coming in right there. Thank you, Steve.
And, John, my question for you is just what kind of level of step do you see Tyson making each year? He's taken a big step. Some quarterbacks last year stayed away from him. I think week 9, Pat stayed away, but mostly because Travis Kelce was open all the time. But I want to get your thoughts on what kind of step do you want to see him make this year, or can you see him making?
Sure. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. What kind of a leap for Cam?
Yeah. No, I think Tyson absolutely can still take a leap. It's crazy to think that he's still one of the youngest players on the roster. I think he's only 23 years old. He's still somebody with a ton of room to grow. And the great thing about Tyson, I think, that you can maybe miss with other corners is that he's more than willing to put in the extra work that it takes. He has all the God-given, athletic ability, height, length, weight, speed, all of that. But I mean, you talk to his position coach, Shea Townsend, and I did a story on Tyson's evolution last year, and he told me when Tyson first met him, he told him he wanted to do like extra pre-practice and post-practice, like meeting sessions with him, going over stuff and like every single day. And he said he still does it, to this day, and he probably puts in more work than any cornerback that they've had in the building really in years, which again is crazy to think considering his maturity when he's as young as he is. So I do think he can absolutely take another leap. I've said before, I think that the ESPN, the top 10 rankings that they do each year, there are always some wonky results, but the fact that the results come from players and coaches and scouts and executives who are actually in the league, that makes me give them some credence. And this year, Tyson wasn't in the top 10 or honorable mention, but he was in the received votes category. Next year, I expect him to be in that, top 10 honorable mention category. I think he's that good already, but I think as the Jaguars continue to obviously find success on the field, he'll get, more recognition his way. So I think he's already a dang good player, but I could see him having a Pro Bowl-like season just because I think he's fully coming into his own on and off the field.
Yeah, and not only is he 23, he turned 23 in March.
That's
crazy. He's just 23. Like, Trevor's 23. He'll be, I think, 24 in October, something like that. Just two amazing building blocks for this team.
Like, two guys who you would never, just knowing their personalities, would never guess that they're as young as they are, or that they're, as kind of wet behind the ears as they are. Like they're really, old souls. And when you talk about adding the right kind of people in the draft, that's what it's about.
Somebody asked on Twitter who plays opposite Campbell. I mean, overwhelmingly, it's Darius Williams, right? But, like, beyond that, both at depth at outside corner and nickel, what do you see from the Jags that should get fans excited?
That's a tough one because the cornerback depth, to me, is right up there. Pass rush depth as biggest question marks with the team. Like, they've thrown a lot of picks out of position the last couple of years. I want to say, 4 picks at cornerback alone the last 2 drafts, but all those picks have came in, the 6th or 7th round. So
right.
they're betting on some development from guys. And then outside of them, the veterans they have are, Chris Claybrooks. I think that he has a really good shot to make the roster, even with all the new moves, because they do like his developmental progress as an outside corner. And then obviously he's a phenomenal gunner on special teams, big special teams impact. To me, I think he's one of the more important depth pieces. And then nickel, I think between Eric Hallett and Christian Braswell, one of those guys has to step up during training camp and has a chance to really kind of maybe push Herndon. But this is a guy who I want to say he's a 6th-year veteran against 2 rookies in their very first training camp. It's hard for me to see anybody, but Herndon really manning that nickel role. So I think the top 4 corners to start the year will be Tyson, Darius, and then Herndon, the nickel, and then Claybrooks as their top depth guy.
A lot of people, when Antonio Johnson was drafted, because he covered the slot at times, thought, could he be a nickel option for this team? How do you see them utilizing Antonio Johnson as a rookie?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that. So when he was drafted, Trent Baalke pretty quickly shot down the notion of him being a nickel guy. But when you talk to his position coach, and I'll have a story on this on Jaguar Report before camp opens, he thinks there is potential for him in the nickel in certain packages. So, like, when you see teams, like, say the New England Patriots, Mike Gesicki, he's a tight end, but he's really a big receiver. They play him in the slot a lot. If you play a team like that who has a flexed out tight end a lot, that's when you can see Johnson, in the slot against these bigger targets.
Is he the Travis Kelce eraser, John Shipley?
Yeah, I think he'll get a chance to be.
I think he'll get the opportunity to at least see how he looks opposite him.
That's a big ask for a rookie.
Right. I mean, but look, honestly, Kelce, it was like they didn't cover him when they played, and I get it. He's an all-time great, and he gets his against almost everybody, but it's frustrating when you're like, we all know, like, at a certain point, triple him. Right? Don't let him beat you. And if MVS catches a bomb, maybe you can live with it, right? But it can't be Kelce every single time picking up 10, 15 yards.
Have you watched the quarterback show on Netflix at all?
I have not yet.
It makes that even more frustrating, honestly.
Maybe I don't need to watch it then. I don't know. All right. More with John Shipley coming up, including expectations for the running game this year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We get so caught up in Trevor Lawrence and the passing weapons that he has. How does Ship see it playing out with Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, and others? And how much will the Jags rely on that, and how will they utilize those guys? We'll get into that and more coming up. John Shipley here for another hour, so take advantage at 641-1010 on the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or tweet us at MD_1010XL, at _John_Shipley, at 1010XL Denmark as well with your Jaguar questions, comments, or otherwise. And we'll pass them along and continue the discussion here 6 days out from the first open training camp practice for your Jacksonville Jaguars. What, rookies in tomorrow? Is that the...
I believe rookies in, I want to say, the 23rd.
Is it the 23rd?
22nd and 23rd, or something around there.
Yeah, I guess Monday there were 17 that had him in already.
So it's soon. It is coming.
Right, and look, and I've said this then, and I think it's pretty evident in terms of scheduling this kind of stuff and how intense practices are. You got to give Doug Peterson the benefit of the doubt, right? I mean, canceled a minicamp last year. We're like, is that the best? And Early in the season, maybe you question things, but when you win the division in your first year, turn things around, I think he'll get the benefit of the doubt and will continue to. And I'm pretty sure that's low on the priority list for a lot of Jaguar fans out there to be concerned with. All right, we're ready to roll into Hour 2. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Tire Outlet. Of course, if you're overpaying for tires, you're sick and tired of it, right? Well, you don't have to. Cruise into Tire Outlet. You'll get the best selection, the best quality, and the best prices on the tires you need to keep you and your family safe on the road. You know why they can give you those great wholesale prices? They have 300,000 tires in their local inventory in their warehouse right here in Jacksonville. And if they don't have the exact specific ones you're looking for at the retail location you go to, they'll have them out there in an hour or less. Tire Outlet, with 40 years of experience, 14 locations around the First Coast, the brand you can trust to perform great service at a great price. That's Tire Outlet, where you always get wholesale prices and premium service.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go. This Open Championship update on 1010XL is brought to you by Mr. Sparky of the First Coast and MyBookie.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 151st British Open, sponsored by Dell. Dell Technologies pushes what technology can do. Find out how at Dell.com/welcome to now. First rule at the 18th at Royal Liverpool, don't hit it right. An internal out-of-bounds area lurks just off the edge of the fairway all the way up to the green. Well, Ricky Fowler landed his second shot OB not once but twice. Fowler made triple bogey there to spoil what was a solid round. It's a 1/72 instead. Fowler is 6 off the lead. Tommy Fleetwood and Georgia Tech senior Christo Lamprecht on top at 5 under. Both part of the morning wave. Fleetwood has the crowd support from Southport, England, just 30 miles to the north. Wyndham Clark following his U.S. Open victory with a good start, 3 under 68. He's 2 back with Stuart Sink and Antoine Rosner. I'm Ted Emmerich, Westwood One Sports.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to now.
Traveling, volunteering, spending time with family. What's your retirement look like? With income planning from Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor can help you grow and protect your wealth. They'll look at your full financial picture and help you create a flexible strategy that considers things like market conditions and healthcare expenses, so you can stop worrying about the future and enjoy whatever comes next. Visit fidelity.com/income planning. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
Hey folks, you know you want shark coatings, and the time is now. So close your eyes and let's imagine your garage. Wait, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes, just wait till you get home. The rest of you see those cracks, the stains? It looks dark, dull, and dreary. It's nothing you're proud of, it's your house junk drawer. Now, see your floor with shark coatings. It's bright, it's durable, it's fresh. Since it's non-porous, it will be so much easier to clean. Don't imagine your garage, driveway, porch, or pool deck this way. Get with shark coatings and have a brand new space with new possibilities.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to Cam Locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Are you tired of having a plain and boring backyard? Really want to impress your family and friends this year? Then stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway. Imagine hosting guests at your new outdoor kitchen, relaxing by your custom-built fireplace under a brand new pergola. Stone Core can also remodel your old pool deck and beautiful new pavers. Make your backyard wishes a reality. Visit Stone Core on Phillips Highway and let's get started at stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Experienced buyers know the name Tiffin. They also know where to buy one, General RV. And during our Tiffin Motorhome Day sales event, these folks know they could save thousands. And so can you. From July 19th through the 23rd, you can get up to 40% off any Class A Tiffin motorhome. Plus, we've got the lowest prices in years. Yes, big motorhome savings are happening now. Only at General RV in Orange Park on Wells Road off 295.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Are you an electrician looking for better pay and benefits? Miller Electric Company has the industry-leading compensation package. Electricians are eligible for a signing bonus up to $1,000. Now, they're partnering with the Jaguars on their new performance facility, the Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric has opportunities for you to work on some of the most exciting projects right here in Jacksonville. Whether you're experienced or not, visit MillerCareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. That's MillerCareers.com.
Want great drinks at a great location without paying outrageous prices? Players Grill has you covered. Monday through Friday, happy hour from 3 to 5 p.m. $15 bottomless mimosas on the weekend. Players Grill Miramar, where the neighborhood meets.
Hey, this is Jason with Bueller Air Conditioning. Why do we love to go to that awesome grocery store where shopping is a pleasure? Why do we choose that amazing chicken sandwich where the service is fast and friendly and it's always their pleasure? You see, those brands are a promise. Here at Bueller Air, our team is committed to serving the customer and delivering that same kind of brand promise. Our mission is to be the most trusted brand with friendly and professional service every single time. Give us a call today or visit BuellerAir.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, with answers to the questions I'm asked the most. Yes, we are local, and no, I'm not hiring an actor to read these commercials. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Ackerman Urology is now servicing the Beaches community. If you have elevated PSA, prostate, bladder, or kidney issues, plan to see the experts at Ackerman Urology right away at the new location on Atlantic and Hodges Boulevard.
I'm Sam Nelson with your 1010XL local sports update. DeJuan Smoot has been a mainstay of the Jaguars' defensive line over the last 6 years. Now it's being reported he's slated to visit the Baltimore Ravens early next week. There's no guarantee Smoots will land with the Ravens. Also, the Jag front office could make him an offer before he departs for Baltimore. During his SEC media appearance, University of Florida head coach Billy Napier is feeling positive about his progress going from year one to year two.
I'm pleased with the year one to year two transition relative to the recruiting calendar, NIL, and certainly the portal.
British Open got underway this morning from Royal Liverpool in Hoylake, England. The British Open is offering a record $16.5 million purse this week, with $3 million going to the winner on Sunday afternoon. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson for 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
At 11:07, it's 90 degrees. Time and set brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, apparently today's the 54th anniversary of us faking the moon landing, which is nice. I'm kidding. Joking, okay? Sure, we didn't fake the moon landing, all right? But you got to think, how'd they get up there and get those shots of the flat Earth and make it look round? I don't know. But anyway.
I spent the entire break trying to find that Buzz Aldrin punching move.
Yeah.
I'll find it for you.
You asked me, you said, did you ever see the video clip of somebody going up to Buzz Aldrin and asking him about faking the moon landing? And apparently Buzz Aldrin got a little physical with him, huh?
Yeah.
All right. The whole line, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, doesn't really make sense, right? You think about it, one small step for man. What's the difference between man and mankind? And Neil Armstrong said years later he flubbed the line. It was one small step for a man, but he didn't say a man. Like, I'm a man, I'm taking one step, but all mankind is stepping with me. Makes a lot more sense there, Neil. That's got to be one of the most quotable lines in the history of mankind.
I'll be honest. I feel like the one he went with sounds better.
One small step for man?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Well,
but
you're conditioned.
Yeah,
you've heard it your whole life, too.
That's
but
true.
Whatever,
They've been gaslighting me with it.
I do not. Very nice way to tie it all back at the beginning of the show. I do not believe the moon landing was faked. Just for the record. All right. Let's get to Travis Etienne and the Jaguar running game. This one from Riley, River City Riley on Twitter. Thank you, Riley. Do y'all think it's unrealistic to expect 1,500 scrimmage yards from Etienne this season? He almost hit that mark last year, 1,441, but I'm wondering how much Bigsby's addition affects his workload. Perhaps a thinly veiled fantasy football question here, Ship. All right, and I respect that, by the way, but how do you see – let's ask it this way. How will the Jaguars utilize their running backs, in your opinion?
So I don't think the Jaguars will have a workhorse in the traditional sense. I personally, I think outside of Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, I'm not sure that running back exists anywhere in the NFL anymore. But I do think if you're looking for them to have like a defined number one back, a guy who's going to really set the tone for a running game, I do think it will be Etienne, and probably by a healthy margin. Will he see as many touches as he did after the James Robinson trade last season? I'm not sure. I don't think he'll dominate them nearly that much, just because, they expect Hasty to be much better this year than he was last year. They said last year he was learning the offense basically
week to week,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
exactly, week to week, because he got there, right after training camp and was thrown into the fire, and then after Robinson was traded, you're bumped up to number 2 running back, and then of course Tank Bigsby, he's going to get his touches. I really think that there's a chance for him to kind of capitalize on a short yardage role early in the season if they don't find success there. But I don't know. The thing with Etienne is, his numbers last year, the 1,400 yards, I think it was 5.2 yards per carry. It's good numbers. I expect him to be a better and more efficient player this year, which means I think less 1-yard runs, less 0-yard runs, less negative runs. But I don't know how much that changes his numbers, because his numbers were skewed by, he was one of the most explosive running backs, and like the amount of 20, 30-yard runs he had was way up there.
But that's his game.
It is.
Right?
It is.
And it's not just pound in the line. 5.11 yards per carry, right there, what you're talking about, in that ballpark. But when it comes to his usage this year, he had 220 carries last year. Okay, well, he's probably not going to have those 22, 24, and 28 carry games if Bigsby is healthy.
Yeah.
But those were 3 games. He also had games where he had 4, 9, 8, 2, 9, and 7 carries. Part of that because James Robinson opened the season as a starter, and part of that just due to circumstance and the way game flow went. So he had a lot of single-digit carry games that maybe if they come up to, on the low end, 11 or 12, he may end up right around the same kind of area, just maybe more evenly distributed.
Exactly. And the thing I think people have to remember is still that Doug Peterson, he very much calls plays like a former quarterback. He wants to throw the ball, and Trevor Lawrence is going to throw the ball at such a high clip this year, just like he did last year, that I think it's hard when you're in that solid offense to share many carries between guys. So I'm not sure how much Etienne's role will really change compared to what we saw at the end of last year, other than, maybe you see Bigsby out there for, certain situations, maybe a few series, because you wouldn't think a team would draft the running back in the 3rd round to just have him.
To not use him, right? Talking with Mike DeRocco of ESPN earlier this week, he said Bernie Parmalee loves Bigsby. Yeah. Like, really, that was a priority get for the running back room from Parmley's eyes. Not
Yeah.
that he has final say.
He raved about him.
The thing that stood out to me, and it's tough to draw too many conclusions from these mini camps and OTAs without guys going full contact. But I've remarked on this several times. Out of all the impressions I got, Bigsby catching the ball away from his body, just plucking it with his hands. That's a trait that it doesn't matter if the guy's on you or not. Do you have the ability to catch? Are you a body catcher? Or are you only good on little swing passes? He looked like he's going to be an effective receiver out of the backfield. Now, I don't know how many opportunities he'll get, but it looks like that could be a strong part of his game.
100%. And Bernie Parmley, after the offseason program, said that was one part of his game that he didn't really know about coming out of Auburn. Of course, he had some receiving production at Auburn, but it was mostly checkdowns that he said like he didn't know until they really got their hands on him what he could do as a pass catcher. And you're 100% right. I thought out of all the running backs, he made the biggest impression as a really a pass catcher this offseason. It's just remarkable to see a running back of his size and what you presume to be his style to be that comfortable catching ball. And the passing game is really, I think, for young running backs, the biggest curve that they have to kind of face because there's just so much that goes into protections, routes, being on the same page with the quarterback. It really is, I think, the hardest thing for young running backs to learn is really all aspects of the passing game. I think you saw that some with ETN last year. So if he can pick up the mental side of it, that could be scary.
Now, not that this is gospel, but like everyone's looking at the Madden ratings that are getting released this week, right? And on the offensive line, I want to say I glanced at it this morning.
Yeah.
I think Sheriff had an 83 grade. Everybody else in the 70s or below, and Walker Little somewhere like in the mid 60s, right?
Yeah, that Walker Little was crazy,
right? So, but that's the perception of the Jags' talent. Like I hear mediocre to bad sometimes from some of the national pundits. When I thought they were pretty effective last year. When you look at ETN's numbers, right, you look at Trevor's sack rate, and I understand Trevor helps that out a lot by getting rid of the football pretty quickly. But how do you feel about the offensive line?
It's crazy. The same people who were slamming them for extending Cam Robinson a year ago and now saying the Cam Robinson suspension.
If you don't have before game's going to cripple him, right?
Exactly. And Juwan Taylor is a legitimate loss. He was one of the league's best right tackles last season, but they're also in a situation where we saw it with Tom Brady for decades. The quarterback can help dictate how good the offensive line is, and the scheme can help dictate it too. If you're getting the ball out of your hands quickly, you can neutralize question marks along the offensive line. And the Jaguars, they did that last year. Lawrence had one of the quickest time to throws in the NFL last year. I mean, that first Colts game, it felt like literally every play was get the ball, get out of your hands immediately. And then Lawrence himself is just so good at mitigating pressure. He has one of the best sack rates in the entire NFL the last 2 years. Like that was the one thing about his rookie season. Is like every metric was awful in. Other than sack rate, he was one of the best in the league as a rookie. And that was one of the things you're like, okay, for him to be this good as a young player, that's something he can really turn into a strength. So him and Doug Peterson, the combination of them, I think can help mask even the worst offensive line. But I don't think this offensive line is that bad. Like I've seen people say lines like the Rams offensive line is better. I saw one ranking because I'm like, I don't understand how you can come really to that conclusion. But it didn't seem like people were this down on the offensive line last year, and
I didn't think they played that poorly last year.
And that's my thing. I thought they played fine last year. Maybe some short yardage stuff you need to improve in, but that's I don't think struggling in short yardage is any reason for a line to be ranked near the bottom of the NFL.
And they didn't really have that power back component last year. I mean, Travis Etienne is a willing throw your body into the mix kind of guy, but maybe isn't designed from the ground up to be as effective as Tank Bigsby or Dearness Johnson might be in that role this year. So we'll come back and we'll get Chip's thoughts on you already talked about Tyson Campbell being one of the young guys who may take a major leap forward. What about some of the rookies from last year? What about Andre Sisco, guys like that? So we'll get Chip's opinion on some of the young defenders on this team and how much maybe we need that defense to close the gap, at least the perceived gap with the offense heading into training camp here. Mike Dempsey, John Shipley, Dylan Denmark here with you. By the way, if you're on the 1010XL YouTube page, you'll see we just added the Jaguar helmet on the table. I feel like every break we're just adding another little tchotchke to the studio right here. So that was probably long overdue. I say long overdue. We've had the new studio set up for 2 days, but you get the idea. So that's there featured. If you got any ideas for what to do to improve the studio, other than have Trevor Lawrence sit between us for the rest of the show, we invite those on all our feedback channels, including the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010. Mike Dempsey, John Shipley, and Dylan Denmark. Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Happy to report the Thompson family has got a bevy of goodies out there for you. You don't need to have a hard decision, except for the fact that they've got so many great options. You know everything's going to be good. That's the thing. You can grab anything from the Dandy and Anytime Deli labels and know it's going to be made with the highest quality ingredients, going to be delivered fresh practically daily around the First Coast here. And many of those ingredients locally sourced, as many as possible. Prices that are always kept down. Variety that's always kept high. What else do you want? It's just fantastic, fulfilling, and delicious. When you grab a Dandy sandwich at a gate station, you know you're going to get filled up but not weighed down. It's going to keep you going. And look, in Jacksonville, everything is so spread out. You can't go anywhere without taking 30 minutes in the car. So make that your lunch break. Swing in the gate, fill up the tank, and fill up your tank with Dandy sandwiches and subs. In Duval, do what I do when you're hungry. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. The future of Jacksonville sports radio is in the present. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. 1010XL. Jack Sports Radio.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about not being afraid of the crosses of life. Life can be difficult. Maybe today you're carrying a cross of worry or stress. Let me encourage you to remember that when Christ got on the big cross at Golgotha, he destroyed all the little crosses that we face in our life. He set us free from fear, worry, and anxiety. Our job is not to be carried by the cross, but to be carried by our faith.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
It's the Big One sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Mia here, and buy a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla for just $1,000 down and $288 per month. Or you choose a pre-owned 2020 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for just $1,000 down and $388 per month. Arlington Pre-Owned has over 400 used cars in stock and more than 100 vehicles under $18K. You even get 30 days to love your pre-owned purchase or exchange it for one that you do. Shop the Big One sales event, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and arlingtontoyota.com.
Fed up with settling for mediocre pet food? Go to Paul Lick & Good, your one-stop shop for affordable, high-quality raw pet food. Their Prey Model blend mimics the way your dog's ancestors consume their meals. It strengthens the immune system and bone health and gives a shinier coat. Made from all-natural USDA-inspected human-grade meats. No fillers, no artificial additives. Check out all the 5-star Google reviews. Off Lane Avenue near Lenox. Call 625-8600. That's 625-8600. Or visit paullickandgoodraw.com.
More than qualified to handle your roof. Call J&M and we'll show you the proof. Check with our customers and they all say only one way to go, the J&M way.
We take pride in doing quality work at a fair price. We use GAF Shingles, America's largest shingle manufacturer. J&M Roofing, under the umbrella. Call 800-640-4594.
License number CCC 1331951.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's best options. Pickett here. Watch for Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan is brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
Keeping your body healthy and active leads to a more vibrant life. A great place to do that is the First Coast YMCA. The Y is equipped with state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment, plus group exercise studios where trainers host activities like yoga, Zumba, and cycling sessions. The full-court basketball gym and indoor 5-lane swimming pool are open year-round. The Kids Zone can keep an eye on your kids while you work on that dad bod. And it's all available with your family membership. Learn more at fcymca.org.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Did you know that many cooling companies are now part of big conglomerates with no connection to Northeast Florida? In the past, they have concentrated on heating and air conditioning, but after a buyout, many add plumbing and electrical services. This raises their overhead, and those costs are passed on to the consumer. It's a case where bigger isn't better, it's just more expensive. Not Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Mike Merritt remains family-owned and operated. Merritt's focus has been the same for more than 30 years, keeping Northeast Florida comfortable, no matter what the weather. And there are no overtime or weekend surcharges. Mike Merritt's team does not work on commission. They repair only what needs repair and offer replacements only on what can't be fixed. And unlike at giant corporations where you can feel like just another number, with Mike Merritt, you'll feel like number one. Florida license CACO 50384.
XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, John Shipley here with us on Jaguars Today. Jaguar training camp 6 days away, at least from the part you care about. You don't care about weigh-ins and all that kind of stuff. You care about the Jags on the field and hopefully staying healthy and getting a few oohs and ahs and obviously taking place at the new Miller Electric Center. Just give us your thoughts, Ship. You were there for the unveiling. How impressive a facility are we looking at here?
I was blown away. I really was. For as good as you expected it to be, for all the designs you saw and all the progress they were making, it was, I think, even better. It to me, the Jaguars, you see other facilities around the NFL, and then, you covering the Jaguars last few years, it's been obvious, they needed an upgrade in the worst way. They just needed a football hub in general that wasn't, the windowless, TI Bank Field, Everbank Field, it's called now Stadium.
The bank. It's called the bank.
So I was blown away. I think that it's the perfect place, for a team to really grow together because, no matter what you need, whether, it's recovery, working out,
golf ball simulator.
Yeah, food, anything. I mean, they're all going to be in one place together that they want to be in. Like, obviously people are getting work in at their facility beforehand, but I think you can definitely venture to say more players will willingly want to be there, pour their time into. And to me, I think it's one of the biggest things that the franchise has really done in terms of a positive investment for the team, because I think it will really help them for years and years to come.
Does it help? I know Donna Deegan, the new mayor, was out there, and she's been a Jaguar supporter the entire time they've been here. I think she understands the importance of keeping them here. But does having that facility and seeing, just an example of we're going to have this on a such larger scale, and how nice is that going to be? It's something you got, to maybe be the envy of the league in some regards, as cutting edge as anything out there. Does that move the needle at all when it comes to getting a deal done with the city, to have something tangible to say, here's an example of the level of excellence that we're talking about?
I think it absolutely does. I think, like you said, having a concrete example of this is what we're capable of doing and turning the Jaguars into, it really felt like the Jaguars were entering a new era, a new kind of really way they could be defined as a franchise, just for this facility alone. So I definitely agree with you that, having the mayor there, having people throughout the city there who really can kind of see just a small part of the vision. Because, I mean, you make a great point. What they had proposed for the stadium, if that gets approved and you have that next to this facility, they have, one of the best locations for any NFL team, which if, you go back even just 2 or 3 years and you compare, the Jaguars to, some of these, where some of these other teams are at, and, they're near the very bottom of the league, and, you turn to what they could be and what they now are because of this facility, it's a massive upgrade. And it's, I said it on Twitter, and I said it, I think on a show earlier this week that, if Urban Meyer got anything right when he came to Jacksonville, It was his assessment of their facilities and their need for a facility.
And his evaluation of Jamal Agnew's
There you go.
talents.
Exactly.
Don't think I don't read your tweets, John Shipley. If you don't tweet it never happened. All right. All right. Hold those thoughts, and I promise we'll get to you on the young defensive players who may be candidates to have a breakout or much improved season. But let's quickly take a look around the National Football League.
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jack's Beach.
I got a few stories here for you. Continuing the saga of Saquon Barkley, of course, receiving the franchise tag, not getting a long-term deal done with the New York Giants. What does that mean for his immediate future? In an interview on the Money Matters podcast that was recorded on July 11th but published this Monday, Barkley discussed the idea of not playing at all at the start of the 2023 season or even the full season in its entirety. Quote, my leverage is I could say F you to the Giants. I could say F you to my teammates and be like, you want me to show you my worth? You want me to show you how valuable I am to the team? I won't show up. I won't play it down. That's a play I could use. Anybody who knows me, that's not something I want to do, but it's something that has crossed my mind. And he kind of tempered his comments a little bit, but it's certainly out there in the ether right now. Barkley, of course, has not signed that tender, and he doesn't have to get fined for skipping camp. He's not currently under contract. Giants veterans are due to report to camp on July 25th. The New York Jets had plans to release former second-round pick Denzel Mims if the team failed to find a trade partner for the wide receiver. Multiple reports indicate that the New England Patriots and Pittsburgh Steelers were among the teams interested in Mims, but instead he is off to Detroit. As for the compensation, NFL media reports the Lions sending a conditional 6th-round pick to the Jets, and they get Mims and a 7th-rounder back. How his draft stock has fallen. And also from the Jets, running back Breece Hall, one of 4 players the team put on the physically unable to perform list before the start of training camp. Not a shock here with Hall. He's recovering from a torn ACL that he suffered during week 7 of his rookie campaign in 2022, and he has insisted that he will be on the field for the start of the season. At least that is the goal. Isn't that every player's goal at this point in time? All right, Chip, back to the hometown team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Talked a little bit about Tyson Campbell earlier. When you look at Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd, even Andre Sisco, still a very young guy. Chad Muma, even though he's not a projected starter right now. Before we get to some of the backup pass rush options, how do these young players strike you in terms of who's primed for a big year?
No, I really think Andre Sisco has potential to be a Pro Bowl type safety this year. I mean, you look at his numbers last year, and they were solid, for a first-year starter. A lot of production in terms of, interceptions and pass deflections. But, I mean, you talk to his position coach, and he'll tell you that if he had converted some of the interceptions that he missed, whether, it was a dropped interception or an assignment that he was maybe just a tick light on, that he would have had some of the best numbers, in the league at the position. And you talk to people inside the building, players that they think are going to have a big year and guys they really think they're excited for. And he's one of the first names that pretty much everybody, mentions. That he's somebody who they think is, it's his second full year as a starter, third year in the NFL as general. He's in great shape.
He got yoked.
Exactly.
Is what he did.
I mean, and he ended the year on a high note last year. And, it's kind of similar with ETN, whereas it seems like the mindset for him inside the building is, he had a solid season last year, but we think he can be that much better this year. So it wouldn't surprise me if just the way that they think that they're going to play, if he's looked at as one of the better defenders by the end of the year.
Who are you more confident in reaching their potential this season? Is it Trayvon Walker or is it Devin Lloyd?
Reaching it this season,
coming as close to reaching it as possible.
I'd probably say Trayvon Walker just because I think he's already there to an extent as a run defender. Obviously, he needs to improve as a pass rusher, but I think that's something that the Jaguars staff can help him with. Whether it's moving him inside more or you can keep him on the edge, but letting him play from a 3-point stance more, just because I think last year showed that he's just not that 2-point stance, wide 9, alignment type of guy. But I do think Devin Lloyd, he's another guy who it seems like the improvement that they've seen from him is actually tangible. There's some guys who you hear going into year 2 or year 3 that they think are improving, and then once you see the pads come on and the real games come on, you're like, okay, what improvement were you talking about? But it seems like when it comes to Lloyd, they're actually believing that they're seeing it. And I thought during the offseason you saw a much more confident Lloyd. I didn't think that outside the first month of the season last year that you ever really saw him play, with any real confidence, and I think it impacted his play.
He kind of admitted he hit the rookie wall, know. Don't want to say at the time, but
exactly. And I think that's understandable, and I think what makes or breaks guys is how you bounce back from that, and I think that you've seen him do the right thing since then.
I keep hearing the Jags have more confidence in Caleb on Chason than anyone else does, right? And I first, is that true? And secondly, why?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm asking you to answer for them, but the guy's had 1 sack each of his first 3 years in the league. I mean, what is even realistic to expect out of him this year?
Yeah, it is true. It is. I think you talk to, coaches, people, throughout the building, that it does seem like the confidence in him. It isn't just smoke that they're blowing up, people's whatever. It seems like they legitimately believe that, he's a better player than given credit for. I think where he is as a player, he's obviously nowhere near the player that, you would hope to draft with the number 20th overall pick. Like that expectation is gone. But he also probably isn't as bad as a lot of people think, and I do think that being a first round pick plays into that. Like if he had the production he has now and he was a 4th round pick, people wouldn't be that hard on him. But the fact that he was a first round pick, it creates that kind of internal bias. So it's somewhere in between there. But I mean, you asked the question, what has he done to really show that? And I'm not sure. He played sparingly last year because of injuries. He had a good game against the Texans when Trayvon Walker was hurt, but it was jarring to me during the offseason when, obviously when Josh Allen wasn't at OTAs, when you would see the starting defense go out there and you would see, it was like 10 players who make sense. And then one guy who just is like stands out as he obviously should be there. And that was him.
And that's the thing. I mean, there's nobody else that's even close to proven at that position. You got a rookie in Yasir Abdullah. You got Jordan Smith, who, God bless him, man, has not been able to stay healthy for a day, it seems like. I don't know. And here's the thing, too. We're talking about Tyson Campbell being incredibly young. Caleb on Chason still 23 years old.
Yeah.
Will turn 24 later this month.
That's crazy.
I mean, he'll turn, as a matter of fact, next week, he'll turn, I think the day before camp opens up, he'll turn 24 years old. It's just, look, I don't root against the guy. And as you said, if he were drafted in the 4th round, wouldn't be as hard on him. We probably wouldn't think about him at all, quite frankly, because he's not given us any reason to think about him in a positive way. Again, I'm not rooting against him. I don't have any axe to grind with Caleb on Chason. I'm just highly skeptical of the plan right now, and it just seems like the plan is let's get into camp and put the pads on and see if we're right about some of these young guys developing right now.
It does kind of remind me of, when Urban staff and Joe Colin came in and the way they were talking about, I remember Tosh the defensive line coach talking about how special of a season they thought Taven Bryan was going to have, so you're always going to hear stuff like that. But I mean, when it comes to Chason, I will give him credit. The reason he's even in this position to have a chance to be the number 3 edge rusher, you can flame out quickly as a first round pick. I mean, CJ Henderson, they couldn't wait to really, send him anywhere else. The reason that Chason is even entering a 4th year with them is because it seems like he's a very aware player, and he's, known that, okay, I haven't gotten the job done. I need to earn it as a special teams player, as a depth player. And a lot of first-round picks, I don't think you'd see that
doesn't have
kind
a
of
first-round attitude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. The fact that he's in this position in a contract year, I do give credit to him, because a lot of other guys probably, wouldn't have accepted their role and would probably have been released and be playing elsewhere.
All right, we got a few comments from Press Taylor we're going to play for you when we come back. He was recently on with Peter Schrager of NFL Media, and we'll get Chip's thoughts on the Jags offensive coordinator, what he has to say, and maybe a prediction on exactly what we should expect from Calvin Ridley, or what Chip expects at least, barring an injury, as long as Calvin Ridley stays healthy. What are the Jags actually going to get out of him here in 2023. Mike Dempsey, John Shipley, and Dylan Denmark coming back for one more wrap-up segment. Keep it right here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. This Open Championship update on 1010XL is brought to you by Mr. Sparky of the First Coast and MyBookie.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 151st British Open. Get ready for the NFL season with NFL Plus. Sign up today at plus.nfl.com. Terms and conditions apply. Rory McIlroy won the Open the last time it was at Hoylake. He's the favorite coming off a victory at the Scottish Open last week. McIlroy early in his round level par through 3, a birdie at 2, but he gave it back with a bogey at the 3rd. The leaders are Tommy Fleetwood and reigning British amateur champion Christo Lamprecht from South Africa. They both shot 5 under 66 this morning. Lamprecht putting up the best first-round score by an amateur at a major since Tom Lewis shot a 65 at the 2011 British Open before finishing tied for 30th. U.S. Open champ Wyndham Clark opens with a 3 under 68 to join Stuart Sink and Antoine Rosner, all 2 off the lead. Jordan Spieth in poor form coming in, but a 2 under 69 today. He's 3 back. I'm Ted Emmerich, Westwood One Sports.
The new season is here with Training Camp Back Together Weekend, presented by YouTube. And NFL Network is all in as your favorite teams hit the field. From the fans to the rookies and the stars on the move. Get exclusive access across the league all weekend long. Training Camp Back Together Weekend begins July 29th on NFL Network. Additional coverage on NFL Plus, ABC, and ESPN. Go to NFL.com/BackTogetherWeekend for ways to watch. Presented by YouTube, the new exclusive home of NFL Sunday Ticket.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
The 9 after 5 rolls on at the Golf Club of Southampton, so get on the tee with me, Joe C. The XL Primetime League is in the summer stretch, and you need to be part of it. Southampton invites you to join us every Wednesday for our 9 after 5. Beat the heat and blow off a little steam with friends and family at Southampton. A great game every week, good grub afterwards, and prizes. Call 287-PLAY and get in the game every Wednesday. It's our 9 after 5 at Southampton. Call 287-PLAY.
E.T. here, Brackish Vodka, Jacksonville produced and distilled. A gluten-free corn-based vodka is the smoothest vodka you've ever had. Because it's mineral salt filtered after being distilled 5 times, you get the smoothest vodka on the market. And it's made right here in Jacksonville. When you drink gluten-free Brackish Vodka, you are supporting a local business and not a business based in Texas. Taste why 9 out of 10 people pick Brackish Vodka in a blind taste test. Drink like a local. Drink Brackish Vodka.
Hey Jacksonville, we need your help. It may be summer, but school is just around the corner. Hundreds of local homeless, at-risk, and low-income students need school supplies. One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union, is collecting school supplies through July 30th, so our most vulnerable kids can start the school year right. Be a good person and help us fill 350 backpacks this summer. Bring donations to your nearest One-to-One Financial branch. Learn more and find the closest branch at one-to-one-fcu.org. And don't forget, the school supply tax holiday is the last week of July. Thanks, Jacksonville.
Every championship season starts with training camp. From the practice field straight to you, nobody covers camp like 1010XL. Training camp coverage is brought to you by Roland Leash Plumbing and Kingfish Pest Control.
High School 912 is committed to students' academic success through ACT, SAT boot camps and scholarships. These programs are guaranteed to help students increase their test scores and fund the college of their dreams. Your student's future is brighter with High School 912 on your side. Consider donating at jackshighschool912.com/give. That's jackshighschool912.com/give. High School 912, changing students' lives one heartbeat at a time.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, I have heard you talk about growing a diamond from a small size to a larger size. Exactly how does that work at Underwoods?
David, it's a very simple thing we do on diamond solitaire rings and diamond ear studs and diamond solitaire necklaces. When a customer buys one of these items from Underwoods, we guarantee they get the price paid for it on the purchase of any larger or more expensive diamond. Now, a lot of places would say we do the same thing, but where Underwoods is different is we don't care if you're only trading up by 1/100th of a carat or going up by $1. We give the customer the full value of the diamond they're trading in. The Underwood Grow a Diamond program has been in place for a number of years, and it's something the people here in North Florida have been taking advantage of for a long time.
That's at Underwoods, where you can grow a diamond.
Underwoods, serving excellence since 1928 in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Underwood Jewelers.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
If you're living with heart disease and surgery is necessary, a top-rated heart surgery program is available to you at Baptist Health. The team at Baptist has the highest rating for heart bypass surgery by the Society of Thoracic Surgeons, the gold standard for quality and safety ratings. Ask your doctor to learn more or visit baptistjax.com/heart.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra, maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, man, we don't have much time, so let's make good use of it here with John Shipley of Jaguar Report. Again, on Twitter, as you all know, I'm sure, who listen to this program, @_John_Shipley. Ship, let's listen to what Press Taylor had to say. This is on a pod with Peter Schrager, I think. Is that correct, Denmark? Yes. On what makes Trevor Lawrence so special.
That's the biggest. Honestly, we played golf with a couple buddies 2 or 3 days ago, and I had a buddy that's a Jags friend that didn't know him or anything like that. And we get off, he's like, "Is he always like that? Just chill?" I said, "Yeah. I've never really seen him lose his cool or anything like that. I've seen him get intense and a little more competitive, but he's pretty much just always the same guy, even keeled." And I think just the authenticity that he carries himself with, guys appreciate that. He is humble, but he's accountable. If something goes wrong, he's the first to say, "That's on me." Whether it's him or not, he's the quarterback. He's going to stand there. He's going to take the arrows for his guys. And I think guys see that and guys respond to that. I mean, when you know what you're getting out of a guy, he's got your back. You're willing to fight a little extra for him. And I think our players saw that from the jump, because we brought in a lot of new guys that, didn't know much about him other than the hype and struggles his rookie year. But he quickly earned everybody's trust, and the way he prepares and the way he plays and the way he treats people.
Look, there are a couple of components, or more than a couple, but that go into playing quarterback at a high level. You got to have the talent.
Yeah.
but you also have to be able to handle everything that comes with being a face of a franchise in the National Football League. And don't get me wrong, give me the talent first. That's number one on my checklist. But Trevor Lawrence may be better in the second department than he is in the first, which is saying a lot because the talent is abundant. But in terms of, it's like he's been preparing for this his whole life, right? He's been that guy at the top of all the rankings, recruiting, and collegiately a Heisman contender and national champion as a freshman and all these things. He has learned to deal with it, and he does it, you almost take it for granted. He does it like a 10-year vet.
Yeah, no, 100%. He really is, like you said, like a 10-year vet, like an old soul. And he really is, when the cameras are off and you're just talking to him one-on-one, like that's how he is. He's really one of the more, laid back, even-keeled people. And I think that's important at the quarterback position. Just like I think it's important at the head coach position not to get too high or not to get too low, because guys see that and they feed off your energy. And I feel like if Trevor's your quarterback and you're facing the franchise, guys are going to be able to feed off his energy pretty well. Because, you just look at some of their comebacks last season, and I think the team kind of being like that and being able to, have bad things happen, but be able to recover from them because they're not immediately putting their heads down, plays a role. And I also think that his rookie year really played a big part of the leader that he became, because it wasn't obviously by choice when
right, but he got up there every post
Exactly.
game and he never shrunk away from anything. All the dysfunction, he never made excuses for any of that.
I think about the James Robinson situation when he wasn't getting those carries. I don't remember if it was against the Rams or whoever it was, and it was the biggest story in the building for days, and the person who was the best about it was the rookie quarterback who had zero say at all in anybody's playing time or anything like that. So that said a lot to me then. And then I think the thing that I remember Sports Illustrated had a great sit down interview with him before he was drafted that had some people freaking out, especially some national pundits.
Right.
And I really think that having the rookie season happen the way it did and having as many people nationally kind of knock him the way it did was honestly a good thing, because I do think it kind of, lit that fire inside of him that maybe he didn't feel like he had to have before.
Right, and, it's hard to believe a guy doesn't have a fire lit in him anyway.
Yeah.
When you perform at the level that he's been at, you don't just show up no matter how talented you are. There have been plenty of talented guys that have flamed out at various levels. Trevor aside, just quickly, give me a couple names. Who are the most fun guys to cover on this team?
Yeah, Zay Jones, he's always great. Not just, the quotables and the sound bites, but the details that he goes into. Like if I ever wanted to ask an offensive player about a defensive player and expect them to give me a really detailed, thoughtful answer on what makes them good, Zay is who I would go to. I think Evan Ingram is really good as well. And I think, looking at the defensive side of the ball, Will Robson-Harris is always good. Rayshawn Jenkins is always good. And then Foye Oluokun, you can see why he's kind of become the quarterback of the defense when you talk to him. He's just the way he's able to command the room, the natural, and genuine charisma that he has. He's been one of my favorite interviews over the last year or so.
All right, well, hold all your remaining thoughts. We'll get a few final ones from John Shipley here coming up in a moment. But first, let's preview what's coming up on XL Primetime with Matt Hayes.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet, keeping 1010XL on track with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
All right, Matt Hayes, part of the 1010XL contingent at SEC Media Days. Matt, great coverage. Enjoyed it all week long. What do you guys have coming up today?
Next, Mike, we've got Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin is here, Tennessee coach Josh Heupel, and South Carolina coach Shane Beamer, and all their players are here. One last day here at the Big Top Circus. That is SEC Media Days.
What is your most intriguing storyline that has emerged? Maybe other than all the Georgia off-the-field stuff, because I know there's been a lot of talk about how Kirby Smart is handling that. Has there been one that stands out to you this week?
A lot of confidence, I think, with LSU. It's not just the coach and the players. I think it's the media here as well also is starting to turn a little LSU. I still think at the end of the day when you hear the predicted order of finish, it'll be Georgia. But there's a lot of people right now that are moving toward LSU, myself being one of them.
All right. Well, we'll find out if they are truly a challenger to the Bulldogs as things play out before you know it. What do you have coming up on the show today, Matt?
More interviews, more talk about what's happened over the last 3 or 4 days. We will wrap it up here, and we're also going to break down a little bit more what Billy Napier said yesterday during the Frangie show.
How's the nightlife in Nashville compared to Hoover?
Would not know. A lot going on.
That's a nose to the grindstone guy. All right, brother. Hey, listen, we'll be listening. Great job, as I mentioned, you, Mia, and all the crew out there. So thanks for popping in.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, buddy. XL Primetime for the next 3 hours with Matt Hayes and Mia O'Brien out at SEC Media Days, and Big Sirs and Joe C. have been back here across the Frangie show out there all week as well. All right, John Shipley, won't be the last time we have you on Jaguars Today. Might be the last time we have you in studio for a little while with training camp opening up and your time commitments increasing. What is on the horizon for you in terms of any features or what you're looking to put out there at Jaguar Report?
Yeah, no, we'll have a couple more stories on the rookie class, what the position coaches have seen in guys like Tyler Lacey, Ventrell Miller, Yasir Abdullah, Antonio Johnson, the rookie DBs, all that. We put out that same kind of article on Tank Bigsby the other day. Some really good quotes from Bernie Parmalee on the pre-draft process of when he was watching running backs, how he basically was watching running backs kind of ho-hum, and then Tank Bigsby came up and he put 2 stars next to him and was like, oh, this is a guy. So we'll have something on that and the rest of the rookies, looking at what, to me, are some of the more interesting camp battles and, just gearing up for camp because once it starts, it doesn't stop.
It does not stop, brother. But you know what? We're fortunate to be in a position to cover a team that finally seems to be on the ascent, not just temporarily, with Trevor and Doug Peterson at the helm. Good things, we hope, in abundance in the near future. All right. Great work, man. Appreciate you coming in today.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Always love it. At _John_Shipley is where you find John on Twitter. You know that. And, of course, on the digital pages of Jaguar Report, an offshoot of Sports Illustrated on the Jaguars beat. And you'll see him out there at training camp as well. That'll do it for us today. For John Shipley, for Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Back again tomorrow with Tom McManus in studio here with me. We'll see what he thinks about the Christmas setup that we may have going for him. Who knows what other little decorations we'll have added to the studio by then. Send your suggestions to the text line at 641-1010. But stick around. XL Primetime is next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Yo, Jacksonville, let's go. Jaguars Today.